It's nearly impossible to sum up the life of a man who's dedicated his to service. 44 years of military service, in fact, dedicated to saving lives in deployment and dedicated to saving lives in his civilian life.
Yeah, you know him as Dr. Gordy Leingang, but first and foremost, he's a patriot and a retired colonel of the North Dakota National Guard. Tonight, we continue our series, Veterans Voices.
And about 4 of them here.
He goes by Gordy. Pretty unconventional for a man of his distinction, but his entire life has been pretty unconventional. Gordy wasn't always a doctor and wasn't always a colonel.
In high school, I knew that I was never going to do well in college. I was just full of piss and vinegar, and I needed to get some direction in my life.
He joined the Marine Corps at age 17, where he became a crew chief flying medevacs.
I got that job, that position, because I was a paramedic, which is very unusual for a Marine because there's no such thing as a paramedic in the Marine Corps.
And after his 4 years as a Marine, Gordy went on to enlist with the North Dakota National Guard. But for his day job, he was Officer Gordy.
I actually became a paramedic because I was interested in law enforcement. I was a cop in Bismarck for 15 years. When I got out of the Marine Corps, that's what I did.
Officer Gordy was also getting paid to fly in the Guard, and he loved every minute. So, long story short, the Guard paid for his college, and the officer became a doctor. Just like that, and beyond his own wildest imagination, Gordy's time in the military turned into a lifetime of service.
And I thought, you know, I'm enjoying this so much, I'll stick around for a few more years. And the next thing I know, I had 25 years. And then the next thing you know, 9/11 happened. And I couldn't see myself getting out. And my son joined the Marine Corps at that time. And I thought, I'd never been to war. I trained and deployed many times for floods and things like that, but I'd never been to war. I'd never done what I was trained to do.
It was during deployment, Gordy would go on to earn the Combat Medic Badge for providing medical care while being engaged by the enemy.
I mean, we were driving around in a Humvee practicing medicine.
It was during deployment that while missing his own family, he would find a new one. But it was also during deployment that Gordy would keep breaking rules.
That's a funny story in and of itself, how I attempted to go see my son. I won't bore you with the details, but I went hitchhiking across Iraq in helicopters, and I didn't get it approved. I just did it and went, and I thought, well, what are they going to do, shave my head and send me to Bismarck? You know? So I just kind of did it, and I got very, very close to him. So I was stranded. Went in the middle of nowhere in Iraq with no way to get home. Yes, definitely got busted.
Luckily, the colonel's career didn't end there, because on what would have been his 3rd deployment, this time to Afghanistan.
And literally a week before I was supposed to leave for Afghanistan, I got a mysterious phone call from Guard Bureau. This is out in Washington, D.C.
Gordy was called up as the medical director for the Wounded Warrior Transition Unit, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
If you understand that at that time, we couldn't take care of all the wounded people that were coming back, the amputees, the traumatic brain injury, the post-traumatic stress, and many of these soldiers with these signature injuries of our conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan needed to be taken care of over a long, long period of time. And the military was not in a position to provide it. So we needed to put them in what was known as a community-based wounded warrior unit, and then somebody had to manage their care and negotiate care for them up and down the East Coast with specialists, neurosurgeons, physical therapists, psychiatrists, orthopedists, etc., and that was my job.
No doctor who serves in the military does it for money. It's not about the all-expense-paid trips.
But I'm very lucky and very, very blessed.
For Gordy, it has always been about service to country, friendships along the way, helping others and not taking credit, and dedication to veterans who've served before him and after.
So if you think there's no honor left in the world, come out here and meet some of these young kids.
And Gordy says he was blessed to be a part of 3 of the honor flights to Washington, D.C. with World War II veterans. Then he had the distinct honor of attending their deaths in the weeks after the honor flights in the ER at St. Alexis, where he was the trauma doctor.
Gordy is also credited with saving the life of a soldier while working at the unit in Bismarck on drill weekend. He's also won countless awards for his work in the medical community.
Now, he retired from the National Guard September 2018, well past his mandatory retire date. He is still a practicing doctor and on too many boards to even count. Yeah.